Western democracies are not threatened by Muslims simply because they are Muslims, but they are threatened when religious identity is placed above democratic law, freedom of speech, and secular citizenship. That is the uncomfortable truth many politicians and intellectuals are too afraid to say openly. For decades, Western Europe believed multiculturalism alone would solve integration problems. Instead, many countries imported large populations from deeply conservative religious societies without demanding strong cultural integration in return. The result is visible across parts of Europe today: parallel communities, rising religious radicalism, hostility toward free speech, growing anti-Semitism, pressure against women's freedoms, and open contempt for Western values among some groups. This problem does not come from Islam as private faith. It comes from political and social forms of Islam that refuse to separate religion from public power. Western democracy is built on several non-negotiable principles. The law is above religion. Individuals are above the collective. Women and men are equal. People may criticize religion. And citizens obey democratic law, not religious authority. These principles were achieved only after centuries of struggle against religious domination in Europe itself. Christianity had to adapt to secular democracy. The church lost political supremacy, and modern Europe became freer because of it. Islam in many parts of the world has not gone through the same transformation. That is why secular Islam is fully compatible with Western democracy, while non-secular political Islam creates permanent tension with it. A secular Muslim may pray, fast, wear religious clothing, or follow Islamic traditions personally, while still accepting that democratic law comes first. That model works because citizenship is stronger than religious identity. The problem begins when religion becomes political. When people demand blasphemy laws, religious censorship, separate legal standards, gender segregation, or special treatment based on religion, they are no longer asking merely for tolerance. They are challenging the secular foundation that makes democracy possible in the first place. This is where many Western elites fail intellectually. They treat all cultures as morally equal, even when some cultural or religious attitudes directly contradict liberal democracy. A society cannot survive if it is too weak to defend its own principles. The issue is especially visible around the Free Palestine movement in Europe and North America. Supporting Palestinian civilians or criticizing the policies of Israel is legitimate in a democracy. But parts of the movement have become vehicles for a broader anti-Western and Islamist worldview. Organizations like Hamas are not democratic liberation movements in the Western sense. Hamas is an authoritarian Islamist organization that suppresses dissent, restricts women's rights, persecutes homosexuals, and uses religion to justify violence. Yet, in many Western protests, activists romanticize or excuse this ideology because it is framed as anti-colonial resistance. That reveals a deep contradiction inside modern Western politics. Many activists who claim to defend feminism, LGBT rights, and democracy suddenly become silent when reactionary religious movements oppose the West or oppose Israel. At the same time, many Muslims living in Western countries also face a choice that is rarely discussed honestly. Is their primary loyalty to democratic citizenship or to religious identity? Most Muslims live peacefully and do not support terrorism. But peaceful coexistence alone is not enough for a strong democracy. A democracy also requires active acceptance of secular law, freedom of criticism, equality between sexes, and pluralism. A society cannot remain free if large groups reject its cultural foundations while still demanding the benefits of that society. This is why secular Islam is the only sustainable model for Western democracies. A democracy can integrate religious individuals. It cannot indefinitely integrate religious political movements that reject secular principles from within. The future of Europe and the West depends on whether democracies regain the confidence to defend their own civilization openly, not through hatred of Muslims, but through unapologetic defense of secular law, free speech, equality, and national cohesion. The real question is not whether Muslims can live in the West. The real question is whether Western democracies still believe strongly enough in their own values to require everyone, Muslim, Christian, atheist, or otherwise, to live by the same democratic rules.